to it the role of a mentor. So let's look at some of these points. So mentors are experienced advisors, and advisors counsel through education and correction. Education is the distribution of ideas. Now, what's important to understand is not all mentors are good mentors or effective mentors. And we're going to go over that on the next point. There is a difference in a worldly influence mentor versus a kingdom influence mentor. And we're going to go to Jacob 3:13 in just a second. But before we get there, let's really define what a mentor is by going to our Hebrew lexicon, which is the scriptures, and we go back to the Hebrew to identify the pure and raw source of what a word actually means. So that when we look for this actual mentor, this advisor, that we know exactly what we're looking for. So let's go first to Mishlei 15:22. So it says, plans go wrong when there is no counsel, but with many advisors, it will succeed. So what we see here is that plans, so you can do things and you can get things done, but why would I take 30 years to learn something that I can talk to someone that has that 30-year experience, that has done it, that has been effective in it, and has succeeded in it? Why wouldn't I want to draw from that to add to the knowledge that I'm getting, to add to what I'm going to impart to someone else? And so when we think about that, we have these plans, and plans are ideas that we formulate in our belief system. And so when we get those plans, if we don't have a counsel there, someone to advise us, someone to teach us, someone to show us and give us wisdom from experience, and also from studying and being imparted and being a vessel to where the Father can give wisdom in a particular area, why wouldn't we want to tap into that? And it says that with no counsel, many advisors, with many advisors, it will succeed. It will succeed because you have properly tapped into a principle as a protege of drawing from that advisor and being able to utilize that knowledge. So let's go. So what we see here is mentors are advisors. They're advisors. They advise you on how to do things, when to do things, when to not do things. And so let's go into that word just a little bit deeper. So this word advisor in a Hebrew lexicon, because again, we want to go back to the original, is Yoes, and it's spelled Yud Vav Ayin Saudi. And so let's look at this. So this Yud, if we know, we spell it out, we see that it's given spiritual authority, and it's spelled Yud Dalet. So it's getting spiritual authority because we have access. So your mentor has access to the kingdom of heaven. Because again, in a minute, we're going to see a distinction between a kingdom mentor and a worldly mentor. And so he has this authority that has been given to him because he has access, which is that dalet, to the kingdom of heaven, which supplies everything we need. One important thing to know is an experienced mentor that is kingdom-based, that believes in the Father, has gained knowledge in an area. We know that that particular mentor is drawing from the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit knows all things. So the wisdom by him or her being in that position to receive that, they have gained that spiritual authority. And that vibe, we see that it's a connection. It's two vibes. It's connecting. It's establishing something. It's establishing what we see here, the authority that's already been given by having access. And then this word ayin, it means to experience or to see or to acknowledge by way of education, and also to that last word, yud noon. So to be to see the spiritual authority through inheritance. That noon is the seed, the eternal heir, the eternal seed that has been given. So your mentor, your advisor, has been deposited into. It's inherited. He's inherited this wisdom. He's inherited this knowledge. he's inherited this understanding to be able to impart it to another protege. Because again, to be an effective mentor, you have to be a successful protege. You have to go to that school of thought and graduate from that school of thought to go into mentorship. And then this last word is Desadi, and it's Sadi Ayin, and the last word is that Dalet. And so what we see here is it's a strong desire for righteousness, to be in right standing. So these are some principles we see here. As a kingdom mentor, that kingdom mentor has experience and understanding by way of eternal inheritance. He's gained that inheritance because he has activated a principle. And we know that the word is law. And if we practice the word and we do the word, that laws go into effect. And the word says that the word would never return to the Father void. So we see that they get that because of the understanding that they get. Through his established connection to the kingdom knowledge, he has a strong desire to be in right standing with the Father. The Father's will is that all men be gain kingdom citizen, gain citizenship into the kingdom of heaven. So all men be saved and come into the knowledge of the truth. It's a whole different way of living, and the Father is trying to get it to us. And he established people that have been deposited into to impart more wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. In Mishnah, we see that the word tells us that wisdom is established knowledge, because it's one thing to just know something. You can go on Google today and know something, but when it's established, when you seek and desire it and you have attained that wisdom, then it tells us wisdom is the first thing, it's the first principle, meaning it's the first rule, it's a guideline. Wisdom is the first rule in the guideline. And then he says, wisdom is the first principle. In all you're getting, gain an understanding. That understanding is the ability to apply that established knowledge, that wisdom that has been deposited. So when we have our advisors there, we have our mentor there, we have to understand that if we identify this mentor as such, and what I'm saying as such, meaning a kingdom-based mentor, then we know that this person, this individual, has gotten the spiritual authority. They're connected. They have gotten their inheritance, that wisdom that we are trying to pull from. And by way of doing that, by way of them wanting to be and desire to be in right standing up to the Father, the pattern is still the same. We are in right standing. And when we know that effective mentorship has been planted. A role of a protege. And so let's see, proteges are leaders. Effective proteges know how to properly submit to leadership, the one who is mentoring them. Let's do this. Proteges know how to do that. They know because they know how to properly submit. In order to get your own vision, you have to be able to identify and how to help and assist someone else with their vision. That's another part of the process. And so a story I can remember is when I first came to the ministry, I saw Dr. Larry, and I saw the lifestyle. So I kind of stuck around for a minute, and I started to see his lifestyle and saw what he was teaching. And so with that, it drew me to him as a mentor. And so when I finally got a chance to ask him, I was told to read certain books, to read things and things like that. And one of those books was talking about leadership and how to properly draw from a leader. And this is what you're doing. So you may ought to be a leader, but you haven't graduated into that mentorship or that mentor role. And so one leader submitting to another leader and going under that mentorship is powerful, but you got to know how to do it. And if you can't function or go under a leader's leadership properly, then don't do it at all. Because what you're going to do is drain from a mentor. You're going to drain from that leader. You're going to drain and hinder yourself. So if you're not ready, protege has to be ready before he comes to the mentor, because it's a process, and it's not the prettiest process. You're going to go through some things. So let's keep going, looking at our role of a protege. So we see here, effective proteges have an innate ability to draw. It's their code of conduct to draw. They know how to do it. If you learn how to draw, and you have the two main tools, if you have the ability to draw and have a great attitude, have a great posture, then you're 90% there. The next part is doing and activating the drawing process. So your ability to draw and your attitude is 90% of the protege role. And we see here, effective proteges are always on guard for access doors. What access doors? Offense. Offense. Offense is a tool that the enemy uses to destroy you, because it can start out so small, the slightest thing, and it grows. It's just like yeast. A little bit of yeast in that, or a little leaven, leavens the whole lump because it spreads. It's a cancer. Offense is a cancer because it spreads, and it can be contagious, and you can cause other people. When we look at who is that? Cora. Offense can cause you to destroy your whole family. This whole man's family was destroyed, was swallowed up by the earth because of offense, and he acted on that offense. And it was little things. So as a protege, we have to make sure that we stand guard for any access door, even the smallest one. And then an offended protege causes a delay to his own growth. We didn't say the mentor's growth. He causes a delay to his own growth because you grow and you develop as a protege at the rate that you draw. And as you are drawing and going through the process of the drawing process, if you can't properly draw and you're offended all the time, you are delaying your time. And the mentor is not going to act on that offense. He's not. That's wasting time. That's wasting precious kingdom currency. And mentors don't have time to waste. Okay, let's look at this next point. Proteges are scholars. Scholars' primary role is to seek understanding. Understanding is the ability to apply established knowledge. What is established knowledge? Established knowledge is wisdom. We talked about this earlier. And then lastly, an effective and equipped mentor is a result of a successful protege. An effective and equipped mentor is a result of a successful protege. Okay, we've identified. So we've identified the difference between a kingdom mentor and a worldly based mentor. We also have talked about how to go and initiate that drawing process. So we're at the point now that we've identified in ourselves that, yes, I want to be led in this area. And I see an effective mentor whose lifestyle produces fruit. I've identified this mentor to have spiritual authority because he has access to the kingdom. And we see that he has a strong desire for righteousness, and those qualities are there. So yes, I want to go under protege, to be a protege for this mentor. Now is my time to initiate the initial conversation, which is, I've been watching you. I've been studying it. I've been studying that gift that you have been using, and that you properly do, that you're effective at. And I want to now go under your mentorship. And you can have a protege say no. I mean, a mentor say no. But an effective mentor knows how to identify a worthy protege. And because that mentor knows how to identify that, because he has gone through the same process, then of course he's going to go under that. He's going to bring you into that mentorship. Now, this is the part where most proteges get it wrong. After this conversation, and it's been initiated, then as a protege, we now think that the mentor is supposed to pour into us from day one. And that's not true. That's not true. We have to go through and activate those principles of being under leadership, as we see when Yeshua was with the 12 disciples. They had to go under their mentorship. He poured at the rate that they drew. If you go and study, you'll see that. And so that's important for us as proteges to know that you have to initiate the drawing process. The fountain can't draw from itself. The fountain is consistently pouring out. But until someone draws from that fountain, then it's just going to continue to be a fountain pouring out.